Some of you are going to walk away from this knowing what I'm saying is the truth, and some of you are going to walk away and go, oh, another team talk, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. To be honest with you, like, the person that sat on this ring isn't Alex Shane, because that's a fictional character, right? Alex Spilling is a promoter, a wrestler, and a trainer, okay? And the reason I want to talk to you about some stuff is not bad stuff, it's just sort of, we promised you when we started, we sat down and we said, listen, here's these contracts, this is what's going to happen, okay? We're going to make a British wrestling company that shows you in the best possible light, okay? We're going to use the best possible production, and we're actually going to show you a way to work where you don't have to risk breaking your necks to get stuff over. Now, we have difficulty selling, particularly in this building where run 4 shows, killed it. The last show here had 28 people. And Tony knows full well that despite making probably what over £1,000 a year, whatever he makes, he's got 2 houses, he runs successful comedy nights. He's at the point where we just say, you know what, if we can't sell the tickets, we'll fill it with comps, because what we're trying to do is give the best possible platform, okay? But I need to have a chat with you about a few things that I just really want to address. We're at a time now where we've got a 24-month plan, and we've just finished the first 6 months of that plan, okay? The first 6 months of that plan was to make the FWA look like a credible company, which is watched by people all around the world. Terry Taylor, who picks the talent for TNA, is a big fan of ours. Gabe Sapolsky loves our stuff, and we're going to send stuff to Sheamus and say, look, you might want to show this to Triple H and say that there's a feeder for Europe if they want it, okay? It was also, most importantly, to show you guys that we actually mean this. We're not joking. I know you turn up to other shows around the country, and it's embarrassing. I know what it's like to sit in a dressing room. Listen, we all do this because we want to be cool, okay? Some of us were geeks, some of us were athletes, but the fact is we're all in the wrestling business and everybody laughs behind our back, okay? So when we sit in a hall and there's 60 or 70 people, we're in the dressing room, we need to do what we can to make ourselves not be the brunt of the joke. Whether that means saying, oh, wrestling, or... But now we have got something here in FWA that you can show your family and friends what you're doing it for. We wanted to give you something in your hand, and at this show you're all going to get a copy of Uproar. If you don't watch Uproar and think that's the best British wrestling's ever looked in 10 years, storylines, characters, matches, then seriously you're in the wrong country, man, because we've done everything we possibly can. But I want to explain to you why we're doing this, okay? For some of you, wrestling's a hobby, you see it as a hobby. I disagree with that because, man, the amount of effort you guys put in is more than a hobby. Some people want to view it as a job, okay? And in all fairness, if it was a job, you'd make a lot more money from it, okay? Some people say it's a brotherhood, and I probably think, to me, it's more than a brotherhood, because I've only got a sister, but I wouldn't trust her with my spinal cord, but I trust you guys with it. And some people, like me, see it as more like a religion, and you'll probably laugh at that. I'm telling you right now, with the exception of a few people in this room, all of you make sacrifices for this bigger than you would for a religion, and all of you risk your life more than you would for any religion. I know even Buddhism I wouldn't risk my life for, but I do it for pro wrestling, okay? So if we're that serious about it, there's a few things we've got to take on board. Now the first 6 months is out of the way, and we've said what we're going to do, and we've done it. What we need from you guys is to understand that some of your brothers in this room are weak, okay? They are weak. They will sit in a changing room in front of the other guys and start saying, oh, FWA this, and I'll work for free, and I do that, which has come back to me. It's unfortunate, because some of the guys saying that stuff are not on this show tonight, which is really unfortunate. But we don't blame them. It's easy for Tony to get angry. Tony's got 2 houses. He moved back in with his rent out one of their houses so he can fund you to look like stars. I've given up the only thing I got from the FWA shows, which was watching through the curtain, because I get so into it. When something goes wrong, I start shouting at people, and unfortunately that's not fair on you guys. So we've all got to learn something from this, okay? The important thing is, when somebody calls me and says, Alex, you never guess, there are 3 guys in a locker room slagging off FWA, what comes back to me is not that it has happened recently. Not one of the guys who no longer works for us was slagging it. Not one of the guys was sat there agreeing and saying, oh yeah, for a quiet life. And one of the guys just sat there saying nothing. What I get is 3 guys were slagging it. And guys, you've got to understand, if you're slagging the effort that we're putting in, let me tell you right now, okay? I know for a fact that when I'm wrestling somebody, if it's in front of 100 people or in front of 3,000 people, which I've done in this country, okay, people will laugh if I phone up the week before and go through my match. I know the other guy, oh Alex, has he called you yet? But I tell you what, I don't laugh when I'm sat on my couch, okay, watching TV, getting paid from the wrestling, and you guys are being told what to do by your boss in your full-time jobs. I don't laugh at that. What I do is I use that as inspiration to try and get you a proper salary. When The Rock and Hogan sat in a gym for 3 days to plan their match at WrestleMania, do you think the guys in the undercard were laughing at them for putting time, effort and attention to their work? If you're willing to risk your bodies and your lives, you've got to be proud of this. Because guys, I'm telling you right now, whether you want to agree with me, whether you want to walk away and say, oh, Alex and all these mumbo-jumbo, Every time you open a newspaper and there's a kid starving in Africa, or there's a mum that's been blown up in Afghanistan, right, or you see something you don't like, every single person in this room, including me, is responsible for that, okay? You open a can of Coke and it takes 3 litres of water from a third world country to give you 1 litre of Coke, that's your responsibility, okay? If you pay your taxes for a war and someone gets blown up and you go, well, I've got to because I go to prison, you're responsible for that as well, okay? But I'm not saying to you, let's fix the world. That's bigger problems for bigger people. What I'm saying is, when Nick Barley gets dropped in his head and he breaks his neck, and from his brother's mouth he told me that he was rolled around the ring, kicked and stomped for 5 minutes and nobody stopped. Even when he was I can't feel my legs, every single person, including me, is responsible for that happening, okay? So what we need to do now is realise that if we like the corner where we are, we'll like the fucking world, and the corner we are is pro wrestling. Like I said to you, I don't care. I don't need any of you in this room as my friends. I don't need you to like me. That's not why I do it, okay? I've met my heroes, I've wrestled my heroes, and I've beat them from Jake Roberts to Raven to Foley to even Sheamus, okay? And I tell you the difference between the people that make it and the people that don't. The people that end up becoming okay, and then being let go are the people who want to be one of the boys, sit in the back and say nothing. And the people who become world champion are the guys that stand up and be an individual. Edmund Burke said, all it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing, okay? All of you are individuals, you're fucking men, you're not boys anymore. I'm a 30-year-old man, I don't want boys, I can't deal with boys. All I need is men, even if 10% of you are men, your job is to turn around to the boys when they're saying something you don't agree with, or when they're on the holiday camps. You know, next time you're on the holiday camps and a girl comes up and you've wrestled, and then you start calling her a rat or you start being disrespectful to her, think, is that just some single mum who's taking her kid out to see the wrestling, or is that the assistant for the head of programme of Bravo? Because what you've just done is you've just slapped British wrestling in the face and you've been the worst ambassador you can possibly be. Okay? Right now, wherever you leave and you go, you know what, these guys are banker, someone who could do, I turned down a job for I was going to run to Europe, I turned it down. Len does all that stuff now, I don't get any money from it. If I wanted a boss, I'd do another job. What I want to do is see the industry that I love rise to levels that it's never gone to before. So in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you what we've been doing while some of you have been supporting us, and some of you, honestly, every time we hear some bad stuff come back, we get a call from somebody and it pricks us. Some of you guys are awesome. Some of you guys really motivate us. There's only a handful of guys, but I'm not angry at those guys. I understand how hard it is to believe in pro wrestling. We've all been let down. Not just pro wrestling, in life itself, okay? But if you can't see what we're doing is something special, then you have to look in the mirror and ask, what are you giving back? Because some of you, whether you're like Martin, and Martin wants to go to America and get signed with WWE, which I believe he will, but Martin now is using the FWA to perfect his act, and that is going to be an inspiration to all these BWC students that want to do the same thing. Whether you're someone like Shah, who just wants to see the industry in this country grow, that's going to be an inspiration as well. We are here to cater for everybody, because you're all individuals, and there's no right and wrong way, but our job is to give you that platform, okay? Here's what we're doing. We've got no show in April so that we can build into May, which we're doing 2 days at the London Excel Centre, the most expensive venue in the whole of Europe. We're being taken there by Expo. We're going to do a match on the hour every hour to pimp the FWA, okay? We're also